one. The 2023 class is settled, and we're turning the page to 2024. So let's talk about who's starting out hot on the recruiting trail right now. How can we not start with Georgia, all right? They finished number 2 in the 2023 cycle, but boy, are they out to a hot start. They have the number 1 class in America, 10 commitments already for the back-to-back defending national champions. And it starts with the top of their commit list. Look at this. Number 1 cornerback in America, Ellis Robinson. The number 1 tight end in America, Landon Thomas. And the number 2 safety in the country, Peyton Woodyard. Such a strong foundation to this 24 class, but they're not done yet. Sam, they're in the hunt for Dylan Raiola as well, the number 1 overall player and the number 1 quarterback in the country.
They're also in the mix for KJ Bolden, the number 1 safety in the country. They're in the mix for everyone who is number 1 at their position in the country, because Georgia right now is recruiting in the same level that Nick Saban has had Alabama recruiting at the past decade plus. And I think those 2 teams are recruiting at a different level than every other program in the country right now. I mean, it's February 6th, and you and I are talking about them having the number 1 corner, the number 1 tight end, and the number 2 safety already committed, and then being in a very, very good spot with the number 1 quarterback and the number 1 safety. I love narratives. It's why I'm in this business. So, in our industry, recruiting, the narrative has always been that, Georgia recruits at such a high level, but it never shows on the field when it comes to the trophies. And now you look at this narrative and it's completely flipped. And that's what the beauty of college football, sports, and recruiting is that they are recruiting at the highest level. So it's no question that they're running away with these championships every single year now.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see who can kind of recruit with UGA this cycle. We know Alabama can. They're going to give UGA a run for that number 1 spot, but can Ohio State, can Texas? We'll see. Another team that is awfully hot to start the 24 cycle is South Carolina. They ended the 23 cycle with the commitment of 5-star athlete Nicholas Harbor. That kind of brought a lot of excitement to South Carolina, and they finished 16th last year. But they're currently 7th in the 2024 rankings, and they start the year off with 4 commitments inside the top 200. We take a look here at number 40 overall offensive tackle Cam Pringle, linebacker Wendell Gregory's number 120 overall, at number 146 tight end Michael Smith, and Mazio Bennett fits in there at number 199, and they're not done yet. They lead in the RPM for Josiah Thompson at number 75 overall. Sam, what are recruits saying to you about the South Carolina program right now?
I think they're saying a lot by their actions right now. South Carolina and Shane Beamer are on top of the world right now. And look at their last couple of commitments. Cam Pringle, the number 1 offensive tackle in the country. This guy is this is what we're talking about. South Carolina winning recruiting battles that we're seeing Georgia and Alabama typically run away with. I think this is the continual building of a program that, when you really feel that a program is turning the corner and really ascending, this is what it looks like. Knocking off Tennessee, beating Clemson, a couple of big wins, and it usually leads to a couple of big commitments along the way. And I think what you're seeing on the recruiting trail is they are believing in South Carolina that they are turning a corner. And Cam Pringle committing that early. Mazeo Bennett is an absolute stud. He's the number 1 player in South Carolina, and he's got all the same offers as anyone in the country as the number 1 receiver. But they believe in South Carolina. Shane Beamer has a very youthful energy about him. His staff resembles that as well. And right now, if they keep recruiting, a few knockoff wins is going to turn into a couple of really great seasons over there. And I think that they got all the juice right now.
I agree. I think Shane Beamer's passion for the program is kind of infectious. And right now, recruits are eating it up, and they're doing really well. We'll see if they can sustain that. It's a long run all the way to signing day. The 3rd hottest program entering February is Auburn. Last cycle, they finished 17. Hugh Freeze already has the Tigers at number 15. Over the weekend, they get a big commitment from 4-star QB Walker White. They also have 4-star corner Jaden Lewis committed to them. Tell me about Walker White and his importance to this Auburn class.
This is an incredible recruiting battle. We love the RPM, right? The RPM is our friend at On3. I love RPM breakers as well, and this was an RPM breaker because Walker White was a top target for a lot of schools over the last couple of months, and Hugh Freeze gets his first big domino to fall when he gets to Auburn. We've kind of been waiting for this. Let's go back to Walker White. He's been Lane Kiffin's top target for a very long time since he's been at Ole Miss. But he recently, visited Auburn and Clemson. He's a 6'3", 225-pound quarterback. He's built like a tank, and he can run the ball. He's got an incredible live arm. Man, you talk about the future of the offensive side of the ball at Auburn, and what Walker White brings is not only a passer, but he is really a tremendous athlete. He can get outside the pocket and extend plays. He operates out of a high tempo, fast paced offense. He kind of is a perfect fit for Hugh Freeze. You get your quarterback this early on, it really kind of gets recruiting kind of steamrolling. And they're already in a good spot with a couple of running backs in state. Hugh Freeze is starting to put together an offensive blueprint, and Walker White is the first big domino to fall there.
Yeah, you get that quarterback in place, and kind of the rest of the offensive class can kind of follow along with the quarterback. So who else is Auburn trending for this spring?
Yeah, running back Jamarian Burnett is an in-state running back, a big back that Cadillac Williams likes, and Cadillac still being on Auburn's staff is going to go a long way. You're going to watch that. Two receivers to watch: Cameron Coleman, again out of Phoenix City Central, another in-state guy, trending toward Auburn on the RPM, and then Terrence Moore, who got an offer from Auburn a little whiles away from a different staff, has been in touch with Hugh for new staff. He's out of Tampa. Big talented receiver that's coveted by the Ohio States, Alabamas of the world right now, and he's got his eye on Auburn.
All right, we're going to talk more about Auburn throughout the spring, I'm sure, but let's move on to the fourth hottest team heading into the offseason, and that is the Clemson Tigers. They're currently sitting at number 11 in the 2024 rankings, but they cleaned up this month. They landed four-star tight end Christian Bentancur. He's 6'5", 235, top 100 overall. Four-star safety Noah Dixon, number 178 overall. And four-star defensive lineman Champ Thompson, he checks in at number 238 overall, 6'3", 250 pounds. But coming off of that Walker White news, we're looking at Clemson and the QB dominoes. Could they be in position to land four-star quarterback Jaden Davis, the number 2 quarterback in the country? He was a longtime favorite to head to Michigan, but with everything going on with Jim Harbaugh, could this be a situation where Clemson jumps into his recruitment?
I think they're going to try. I mean, they've moved on from Jaden Davis for the fact that Jaden was leaning toward Michigan since the back end of last season. He's been visiting Ann Arbor. He recently took a visit out to North Carolina, which is his in-state school, the Tar Heels. But Clemson, after missing on a lot of quarterbacks, starting with DJ Lagway and now Walker White, they could do a lot worse than trying to circle back to Jaden Davis to try to, re-energize recruitment, because he's one of the better quarterbacks, obviously still on the table. Jaden Davis would definitely be the first. And I know that they've also had some contact with a quarterback that Garrett Riley used to recruit when he was at TCU.
Sam, is it time for Clemson to turn it on in recruiting?
Yeah, I think that they could use some juice on the trail and kind of rewrite the ship. Like we talked about, some misses at the quarterback position, but it's still only February. They just hired new coordinators. Everyone is just getting into place. It's still Clemson. It's still Dabo Swinney. I think that the culture of Clemson is an alluring presence, and visits are, I think by the time when kids start resuming visits in March and April and they can go see Clemson again, now that the coordinators are settled in and comfortable, I think we're going to see Clemson pick up the pace.
All right, before we move on to the Florida Gators, I need you guys to do me a favor. Like this video and subscribe to the On3 YouTube page. We have all the latest recruiting developments and a ton of college football content. So subscribe right now to the On3 YouTube page. All right, the fifth hottest team in the country heading into 2024 are the Florida Gators. They finish outside the top 10 in 23 after losing Jaden Rashada, but they're hot in 24. They're currently sitting at number 3. This class is anchored by quarterback DJ Lagway. He's the number 21 overall prospect in America, and they just added 2 elite linebackers to this class in Miles Graham and Adarius Hayes. Chauncey Bowen is committed as well. UGA is working to flip him. Sam, what does it mean for a class like the Florida Gators to have a quarterback like DJ Lagway committed this early?
This was all part of Billy Napier's plan. Like, obviously, he had hoped to have Jaden Rashada on the roster by now, but in terms of building this 2024 class, I think it's going to be imperative for Billy Napier to really kind of put this class together and end it with a little bit more gusts than last year's. But having DJ Lagway in place, he has been hard at work recruiting, and obviously he's also been rehabbing and getting better for his senior season over at Willis High School in Houston. But DJ Lagway is the perfect face for the class. If you're Florida, he's an infectious personality. He's an elite athlete. He's going to be at Florida for a ton of junior days, a ton of spring recruiting visit weekends, and I think Florida, with him in place, a lot of people are going to want to be around DJ.
Yeah, DJ Lagway has really been the bell cow for Florida's 2024 class, doing a great job of drawing interest from other recruits. And as we know, relationships are important, and so are relationships from recruit to recruit. So the big question I have for you, Sam, is can UF start to close the gap on the top tier of the SEC, like Georgia, Bama, and Tennessee?
That's a great question. We started off earlier in the show saying that no one could recruit like Georgia and Alabama, and I still think that at the end of the day, I mean, what's a better recruitment to look back than Des Ricks ended up at Alabama, right? At the end of the day, a highly competitive recruitment that at one time maybe favored Florida, maybe at one time favored LSU, but still ended up at Alabama. I think that just comes with the stigma that comes with the program when you have Nick Saban or Kirby Smart and the resumes that they have. I think Billy Napier is a fantastic coach. I think Florida's future is very, very bright with him being in charge. And like we talked about, the class that they're building is really, really good it was a great 2023 class, and they had the pieces of a really elite 2024 class. I do think we need to see some movement on the field, and then we'll see them win those those tighter roles toward the end, that with the Alabamas and Georgias of the world.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button for me, and remember to check out all the videos on the On3 YouTube page.